Hustleshare podcast is sponsored by Lark, the leading super app for work in Southeast Asia. Frustrated with juggling and paying for multiple tools for work? Hate mixing personal and business messages? Improve your team's productivity by 10 times with Lark, which combines business chat, email, video conferencing, calendar, project management, real-time translation, and much more into one super app. Trusted by companies like Xiaomi, Glints, Kumu, and Mamaluz. Get it for free at larksuite.com today. And also by Uno Digital Bank, a full-spectrum digital bank, licensed and regulated by the BSP. Manage your money and maximize its potential growth with a secure and trusted bank that fits right in your pocket. Open a savings or time deposit account, pay bills, shop with the Uno Virtual Debit MasterCard, or apply for a loan in the Uno mobile app today.
There were a lot of difficult situations for Enrique and myself. It's something that we just, discussed in closed doors. And we both, took hits. We didn't take any salaries. And how can we survive? I actually touched my personal Bitcoin savings just to get me to the next few months without salary and stuff, right? And there's a lot of things in our personal lives that was going on too. And a lot of people think that we're look at these rich guys, right? We're not. We're normal
have
folk.
No idea. What the fuck? I'm broke.
Right? Yeah, we're making ends meet. And one thing I would really tell Enrique is man, I know we're in a rut now, but I believe in what we're doing. We're gonna change how the Philippine landscape is. So right now, kailangan natin magtiis, and I'm just gonna pray for whatever it is we're working on.
Welcome to Hustleshare, the podcast that features the daily grinds of unique hustlers around the world to show not our differences, but that our hustles are very much alike. Now here's your host, Ronster Baetyong.
Welcome to the latest episode of the Hustleshare podcast. We are in pole position today because I've been wanting to meet this guy for the longest time. I almost had an opportunity to actually meet with him last year when there was a meetup in Kumu's office. Unfortunately, it was a Sunday. I couldn't make it. Too many family errands, right? But now we finally have an opportunity to ride with him in pole position because we have the founder and CEO of DOON, Mr. Enrique Hormillo. Whoop, whoop. Welcome to the show, bro.
All right. Thanks for that, Ronster.
Man, I'm pretty sure you're used to all the cheers, but at least you don't have a helmet on today. Okay.
Wow, man. I used to be. I definitely used to enjoy that in my younger days.
Yep.
But I haven't raced competitively since 2019. So it's been 5 years for me.
But again, if Ricky Bobby can do it, you can always go back.
You can always make a comeback. I think you can go racing your whole life. It's not
it never leaves you.
Sure, you get a little slower as you get older, but definitely the skill is always there.
Absolutely. And again, that's going to always matter. But before I get carried away, I need to ask you the $1 million question. Enrique, what's your hustle?
Thanks for that. I love the $1 million question. My hustle is I'm the founder and CEO of DOON. And DOON is the Philippines' first fully insured peer-to-peer car sharing marketplace. So as you can tell by where we are, this is my home office. I'm really into cars. I love it. And DOON was really a way for me to kind of share my passion for cars with anyone and everyone in the Philippines. When I say peer-to-peer car sharing marketplace, a lot of people, they don't really know what that means, right? And the easiest way I can explain it to them is it's like Airbnb, but it's for your car.
Yep.
Pretty simple, right? Like you rent out your car, other people on the internet, they borrow it, they pay you.
And you guys are doing so again, just for those people who have been living under a rock. Just recently, just over the past couple of months, they've just announced two monumental things that happened. Number one, they raised 1.5 M USD, to get this done. And again, that shows a lot of confidence on what this market is all about, car rentals, Airbnb style. But you also acquired a company, Brian's company, to get this done. And right. those are just wow, amazing. It's a short span of time. But before we get carried away, where we talk about how you're making doon and why it's doing so well. Okay, you're in the driver's seat, but I need you to buckle up real quick because we have another vehicle here. I need you to ride with me because we're gonna have to ride the Hustleshare time machine. It's all solar powered. Okay, there you go. There you go. Just kidding. But again, everybody that has gone through Hustleshare have always been, again, through the Hustleshare time machine because we need to understand the origin story. Okay, for every hustler, for every entrepreneur that's been here, there's always been the etymology of how you started out. What's the very first hustle that you remember? Obviously, you're a race car driver. You've been living under a rock. Enrique competes as a race driver, okay? Not in EDSA, because there's nowhere possible you're going to be able to do that.
No, not in EDSA.
But I want to understand, what's your very first recollection of you hustling or your exposure to hustling growing up?
So my very, very first hustle ever was actually in the 4th grade.
Okay.
Grade 4. I was a student at Ateneo at the time.
Okay.
And I literally used to rip CDs off the internet, like LimeWire, Kazaa, and sell them to my classmates. I would fucking take like an album, like let's say whatever it was at the time in the 90s, early 2000s, Simple Plan or Linkin Park or whatever it was. First albums, copy that onto a blank CD and sell it for 100 pesos.
There, AKA piracy. There.
My first hustle was piracy. I got to be honest, but I was also maybe 12 years old, so I didn't even know the word.
The hell did
piracy.
you know?
At the time it was just, what's LimeWire? Oh, galing, oh. You could just get the music here. And then of course, my other less techie classmates, they were just like buying music at Tower Records or whatever the hell it was in Glorieta. So they didn't know. I didn't know. Of course, later you learn it's piracy, right? Like when you're in high school now, they start teaching you about what's legal and stuff like that. Okay, that's illegal. That's my first ever hustle. My first ever job, though, was part-time when I was in college. Okay. I was a racing instructor for Tuason Racing School.
Whoa, there you go.
I was... as a kid, I used to do go-karting. I was go-karting around 14 years old, something like that. I'm partially funded by ripped CDs from Kazaa.
Okay.
And mostly funded by my parents, obviously.
Yep. Of course, you got to reinvest. You learn how to reinvest very early on.
So I was go-karting for a while, and then I got pretty good at it. So good, in fact, that sometime in college, I won this... track day competition that was held by Tuason Racing School. Yep. And basically the guy, JP Tuason, the owner and operator of Tuason Racing School, he offered me a job. He's like, hey, you want to be a racing instructor? And I was like, shit, man, I'm 18 years old. I'm in college.
You're legal to drive?
Yeah, it's part-time. And you're going to pay me per day? All right, I got a daily rate. Nice. And then it was something like 1,000 pesos a day.
Hey, that's not bad.
Yeah, that was like a full day of work, though. You wake up at 5 a.m., you set up the racetrack classroom and the track venue.
Yep.
Basically, put markers on the track and everything. Then 9 a.m., you start teaching a class all the way until the track closes at 5 o'clock. You're teaching a class. And then you got to network with your students until they go to bed.
Nice.
So that's dinner and drinks at the Lark Hotel, wherever it is.
Yep.
Whatever other extracurriculars they want to do, you're part of it.
Yep. No, okay. I want to understand this. Okay, obviously, a good chunk of your life and the discipline that you've created was done through driving and racing, right? And I always have seen that entrepreneurs or hustlers that have developed discipline or for a passion for something for a prolonged period of time, that will never leave them and it will follow them wherever they go. So. From go-karting, how did you, and then obviously
touring car racing after that.
Racing. How did that very first part of your life transpire? Because again, it requires a lot of self-discipline and repetition to get this done? Because obviously this is not a common path for people to do it here. And there's not a lot of you guys who do this very well, right? And represent the country and make us proud. But how did you develop that passion and then the intensity to make it as a pro driver eventually?
You know what? It was always kind of my interest. So ever since I was a little kid, I remember anything with wheels. I love it. Bike, rollerblades, whatever.
Kalesa.
Kalesa can be. Hey man, those little Kalesa rides in Intramuros. That was like probably age 4 or 5 fascination.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like anything with wheels, if it moves fast, whatever it is.
Okay.
I even if it moves slowly, maybe I'm still into it.
Okay.
You know, I just like I like that aspect of transportation. I like that it's moving. That's basically what it is for me. Anything that gets people from here to there, or that you can ride, or that you can drive, or actually more recently, even if you can sail it, I'm into it also.
Wow. Okay. As long as it moves.
Yeah, that's as long as it moves. I wanna play with it.
Nice. Okay,
So
then
that's
how did
really
you develop that discipline? Because again, you discovered pretty early on through go-karting that you're pretty freaking good at this, right?
Well, pretty simple. You know, it was always like my dad would bet me before. Like, okay, if you can beat me in a go-kart, it's like our first time go-karting ever. I'll teach you how to drive a real car. I was like, fuck, I gotta learn how to drive the go-kart really fast.
Okay.
And I was like
Gran
14 at the
Turismo
time.
in real life. Oh, there you go.
Parang, I was 14 at the time, so I was like, shit, I'll be advanced. I'll learn to drive a car before all my friends do.
Right.
All I gotta do is be good at the go-kart, which I already like. I used to play Gran Turismo in the PS1. It was one of my favorite games with the controller pa. Before they even had the analog stick and it was still a D-pad you'd play on. I used to play that already, man. Like that was my I don't know what happened. Maybe it was because it was the free game that came with the PlayStation 1. It was one of the only it was one of the only games I had on the PlayStation at the time. So maybe that's kind of what happened.
Everybody had that game because it was free.
Yeah. It was free, right? So who knows? Maybe that's where it came from. But I got super into it. And then when I really started competing in go-karts when I was already like 14 years old, and then I was a little bit old now because the other kids were competing in go-karts. It already started like 4 or 5 years ago. And I was just starting at 14. So I already knew I had to catch up. Like there was a lot of work to be done to kind of, how do I put this? You know, that the feel for something, that natural feeling you have for a certain sport, that normally starts when you're a little bit young, right? So the fact that I started it digital, like on Gran Turismo, which at the time PS1 wasn't the best racing simulator out there by far. I mean, right now we have way better. Before, I mean,
Time Zone was the Daytona USA. That's the only thing you have.
So nothing to do but actually go to the racetrack, put the seat time in, and practice. Right. So that's what I did. But also the thing with the racetrack is you learn a lot in terms of real life. Like the track is a place where you would learn a lot about, you're hanging out with mechanics, you're hanging out with coaches, you're hanging out with real people in like a real setting. I think I had my first cigarette at the racetrack also. You know what I mean? You learn a lot about like how real people operate, what are the real struggles of their businesses, stuff like that. And then when I got to be behind the scenes as a part-time job with Boston Racing School, we'd go for like a whole weekend and you see how everybody operates, different staff, different, roles and functions in a company, whether they're like accounting staff, the staff that's like coordinating everything, some of the people that are doing the photography, mechanical staff, or even the setup staff, when they have to put all the sponsored branding on everything. That's like an overnight magic makeover. You don't own any of the facilities. You just have to create an event in a rented facility for tomorrow. You're learning quite a bit. So it's not just the discipline of actually racing and practicing. It's the discipline of seeing all the people around you in the ecosystem. You know what I mean? So your job on the one hand You start as the racing driver, the go-karter or the touring car racer, and your only job is to go fast.
Yep.
And then after a while, you kind of start seeing it like, okay, I'm pretty fast now. I'm winning races, all these things, trophies, blah, blah, blah. And then you start seeing all the other aspects of what you're actually doing. You know what? Well, you're actually paying for it, technically speaking. If you're the racing driver, somebody's paying. Either your sponsor, you, or your parents are paying. One of the three, right? Got to be one of. So then you see how it all operates, and you realize it's actually just similar to a car. It's like a machine. Like a racing team is in itself a machine.
Correct.
Right? So parang that's where you can really relate the discipline of racing into something that you can use in real life. You know, to your point of like asking how the origin story kind of affects everything. That's really it for me. I saw the similarity of racing to actually running a business or working in a job or something like that. You know, for example, when you're racing a car, it's not always 100%, and you've got to make adjustments as things happen. You know, sometimes if you're very aggressive in the race, then your brakes will start to fade. And so towards the end of the race, you find that you have almost no more braking.
Oh, man.
Into the corner, you've actually got to let go of the gas very early and then kind of use the engine brake to slow yourself down. So you've got to adapt so you don't crash, right? It can't be that you're just relying on the brakes and because somebody took or something rather, in this case, heat and friction have taken away your brakes.
Right.
You have nothing to do, right? Like you're just like, oh shit, I got to pit, I got to quit. There's no quitting until the checkered flag is there. You don't quit until we're done with the race, right? Like even if you're tired and your hands hurt, and believe me, I've done endurance races before. I actually won the Philippine Endurance 12-hour challenge from 2017 until 2019. I won it back to back, first place overall, all 3 years, with 2 different teams, actually. And man, I gotta tell you, 12 hours just driving around the same racetrack, non-stop. Anything and everything can happen to your touring car.
Correct.
There's a lot of things that tend to go wrong, a lot of heat that gets built up. Sometimes even as the driver, man, you're like 1 hour into your 3-hour stint and you've got to take a piss. There's no way you're going to take a piss. There's not going to happen. You better just piss yourself.
Yeah.
And so we learned that, actually. Fuck, man. We used to, sometimes on the second year, after we learned it the first year, we would go out with like an adult diaper.
Wow. Unreal.
And you're wearing, walang excuse, bro. No, you got to drive for 3 hours. Plus, you got to stay hydrated because you're losing fluid the whole time.
Correct.
You're sweating. It's tiring. It's hot. It's loud. You know. So you actually strap like a camelback in your racing chair, and then you run the straw through the hole. And you're just like have the straw in your mouth the whole time. Eventually, you're gonna need to pee. Correct. Impossible. Yeah.
No, that's amazing, and I love your analogy of it being a machine because any type of sport, whatever it is, whether it's a singles event like a race, racing right here, or it's a team sport or a team sport, it is a team sport. There's no such thing as you're on your own. You always need help. Yeah. Right? No, like in racing again. Right now, it's been popular because of the Netflix series in F1, right?
Drive to Survive. Everybody's in the
right. But growing up, I remember being a fan of Mika Hakkinen during the Hakkinen Schumacher days. I'm a McLaren guy. When McLaren was still silver, not orange. Super weird being orange right now.
Okay, and I feel you.
Yeah, and I remember this being like, wow, okay, the level of precision and the level of sacrifice you have to put yourself through, and the super minute details that if you miss, you can fuck up. That's very akin to entrepreneurship because as the driver on the driver's seat, you're not riding shotgun. Sometimes you have to ride shotgun depending on the situation, but you're in charge of your own destiny and you take all the risk. Right, and that's very similar to being a startup founder or CEO, right? Yeah. That okay, I'm in charge. I can't blame nobody. I'll win this for the team, And if you've done that for a very long time, considering because you won't win all the time.
No,
But
no.
the nature
Actually,
to
you lose
compete,
most of the time.
exactly, the nature to compete and the preparation is what's paramount,
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
now I understand why all of this translates to DOON, because you've done this for yourself. But before I let you go for our first break, I want to understand. There's a lot of parts about sports that's also unsexy that will also test your mettle about how bad and how you really love something. How many times, or what were the most difficult things that you had to overcome to pursue driving? Because there's a lot of things that would want to make you quit. Sometimes it's internal, sometimes it's external, sometimes it's both. How did you go over those hurdles?
Man, I've felt a lot of these challenges in my life. I mean, to start off with, I mean, racing itself is quite expensive. So you have to find your own ways to pay for it. It doesn't always pan out. I got lucky. For me, my job at Watson Racing would allow me to do racing for free on the side, right? Like, we firmly believe always, as a race car driver, the only way to become a good race car driver is to be in competition.
Correct.
If you're just practicing, nothing's going to happen. Iron sharpens iron, right? Like, there's no other way around it. So, as part of being a racing instructor, we had to join certain competitions, and we'd use the company school cars, right? Because they were already there. They were already getting beat on by the students.
Yeah.
Kind of whatever school car was there. So part of the challenge of that is, again, it's been beat on by the students. So it's not the best, most reliable car out there, right? So you make do with what you have. You buy your own parts in Banawe. You go find whatever replacement you can get as cheap as you can get it. Whatever needs to happen, right? You sometimes are in Makati, in Banawe, in Quezon City until like 5 p.m. looking for the transmission you need. And then you got to drive that transmission to Clark because the race is tomorrow and the mechanics got to install it tonight.
Yikes.
So those are immediate concerns with motorsport. And they're like really deep ones. You know, there's a lot of politics sometimes in racing. If the steward doesn't like you lang and he finds you mayabang when you have an incident, you have a collision with somebody, immediately it's your fault right away. You know, they're a little bit old school here, so that's how they treat everything, like a popularity contest a bit, because that's how the older generation kind of are.
Of course.
You know, there's also, for example, a lot of, there's also personal things. Like for me, for instance, I am estranged from my dad, but the thing is, I really got my passion of cars from my father. However, we haven't talked in like 5 years, and like I'm just doing my own thing. So it's like, fuck, do I still like cars even without that? Yes, actually. Parang, you realize that's really my passion. It doesn't really matter what the other factors are externally, how difficult it really is. Honestly, I just want to go fast, bro.
You really sound like Ricky Bobby right there.
Yeah. I just want to go fast, man.
Yep.
And that's my philosophy also in business. That's why I connected really. I've done brick and mortar business for a while.
Yeah.
And kind of in the pandemic, I reevaluated and I was like, shit, these things don't scale well. These things are great. They can make you sometimes some money. Like I did my most recent employment, actually, before I quit to start DOON, was while I was building that racing car company, Radical Cars, which you can see
there
up
you
here.
go. Shout out.
So this is a company that I decided to found right before the pandemic.
Okay.
Here I am, some fucking idealistic, late 20s, just about to turn 30 kid, right? Thinking, oh man, I want to make an impact in Philippine motorsport.
Yep.
Let's import the fastest race car the Philippines has ever seen. So I like pulled some money together with like 5 other guys, all of which are my friends and my business partners. To this day, well, sorry, one of them is no longer with us. So 4 of them are, pandemic, man. It's life.
Sorry.
Anyway, so we pulled together some cash and we went to the UK and brought these cars home. You can find us on Instagram, Radical Cars Philippines.
There you
we
go.
brought home the first 4 cars. We went to the UK in April of 2019. We came home in maybe May of that year, and by October, the cars had all arrived here to the Philippines. So we're like, finally, we're at the top of motorsport in the Philippines.
Right.
And what happens in 6 months?
Pandemic. Oh my God.
World's longest lockdown.
Holy shit.
You're right. So we get hit by that. I'm doing my commercial solar power job right on the side of this because this one is, kind of like an all-in. Okay, I have life savings. I sold some cars, some BMWs, some Mercedes. We're funding this business. We're buying equipment. We're buying stuff. Great. Pandemic. Motherfucker. Most of my money was like my life. Oh man, if I stated my life savings was an exaggeration. Basically, because of this fucking racing company that I started in 2019, I ended up in like 30 square meters studio apartment in Capitolio.
Wow.
Yeah, man. Because I started it and I was like, we sell each of these cars for like 4.5 million pesos at the time, which is great. I just sell one or two and we'll have a little bit of extra money and pay in.
Yep.
Global pandemic.
Oh my God. That's crazy. All right. Now let's take our first break. And when we come back, we will talk about how you bounce back from going literally butt ass broke. And also Mixx is going to join us. We'll talk about that more after the break. Hey hustlers, wish there was an easy way to open a bank account and grow your money without the hassle of lengthy application process and income documents? Well, I got good news because today's sponsor, Uno Digital Bank, is here to help you achieve your financial goals. You can easily open an account with the Uno app in just 5 minutes and one valid ID. And as one of the 6 digital banks licensed by the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, the company is committed to providing customers with simpler, better, and more accessible banking. Last year, Uno Bank was recognized by the Asia Banking and Finance Awards and bagged the title Open Banking Initiative of the Year due to the success of its partnership with GCash, one of the Philippines' leading mobile wallet platforms. And with the Uno mobile app, you can access an hashtag Uno Ready savings account and enjoy daily interest crediting. With their hashtag Uno Earn or hashtag Uno Boost time deposit accounts, you can enjoy a high interest rate of up to 6.5% per annum. Enjoy monthly payouts with hashtag Uno Earn and flexible tenors with hashtag Uno Boost. Other app features include pay bills, the Uno Virtual Debit MasterCard, life insurance, scan and pay with QRPH, and phones. And the one thing that I really love about Uno Digital Bank is they're open to collaborate with a lot of Filipino startups. I've had a chance to see the partnerships that they've had lined up with the startups that they have, and it's truly exciting to see how a digital bank like Uno can enable startups to unlock the power of fintech through digital banking. So if you're ready to elevate your banking experience, download the Uno mobile app today from the Google Play Store or App Store. Or if you want to collaborate with them, I'll be happy to give you an intro. Just shoot us an email at hello@hustleshare.com. And we're back on the break. We are still with Enrique Hormillo, who is now joined by his co-founder and COO, Miguel Locsin. Shout out. Miguel, welcome to the show. This is a team sport. And we literally just went to a pit stop. Now we're back out the lane. All right. To try to win this thing. But before the break, Enrique told us of how he made an all-in move on radical cars. Basically, so went all in, like in poker, right? And then the pandemic happened, right? But for you, Mixx, I'm very just really quickly before we talk about DOON, I want to understand your origin story. Because we rode the Hustleshare time machine. The first time Enrique ever rode a time machine. He only on Hustleshare pa. What's your origin story like? What was your very first exposure to hustling? And walk us through the very first few hustles you did before DOON.
All right. So professionally, I was with one company for like 12 years. It's a sports betting provider company.
Ooh, which one?
Based here in the Philippines. It's called Camby. So I started from the bottom and worked my way on to the top. I ended up
so you're the Drake. You're the Drake of that company.
Yeah, okay. Not really. It's like started from the bottom, still at the bottom right now. But the thing is,
full circle.
Like,
there you go.
Yeah. Now I'm like, I was heading a department locally, and I felt a little bit stagnant because there was no more growth. And on the side, I would host nights in Poblacion with some friends. I used to sell some chili, buy chili products, just before the pandemic. It's like, something that I really wanted to support because it was a really good product. And outside of that, I would just really, be opportunistic. A good example would be, that World Cucumber Day, wherein you trade the cucumber for gin in the bars. Yeah, man.
Okay.
It happened like a few months ago, and I almost forgot it was happening. And I was like, okay, if a gin tonic's like $4.50, I can sell a cucumber for like 100, and one piece of cucumber is like what, 30 pesos, 50 pesos. So
3x.
Yeah, so I kind of made the money off that, like off the bat. And it's I'd like to pounce on a lot of opportunities. As long as I can do it and I have time, I'll do it. Yeah.
True blue hustler. So now I want to understand. So before the break again, Enrique told us about Radical Cars. Walk us through how you guys basically bounce off of that and how you guys met each other. Is it through cucumber? I hope it's not through cucumbers.
It's related to cucumbers in a way. No, the funny thing is, like, Enrique and I have been friends for the longest time. When Poblacion was starting out, we drink in the hostel, Tambay. Well, there's like 3 establishments live in Poblacion, and we'd be going out every night. And, we were drinking buddies. But he never knew what I was doing professionally.
Right. Okay.
I'm pretty sure he didn't also know what I was doing aside from it's related to cars. Oh, cars, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so when he started doing DOON, and he actually got AHG involved, he was like, okay, it's time to grow. I need someone who's gonna co-found this with me. And one of my mentors actually recommended me. And our mentor is actually someone we drink with too.
Who is the mentor? Give him a
his name's
shout out.
Paul Pajo. Shout out to Mr.
Oh
Paul Pajo.
my God. The page man, the mentor of all mentors.
Yes.
The real mayor of Poblacion.
Yes.
Mayor,
You know what?
Paul Pajo.
That's the most accurate thing ever. I mean, I gotta tell you, Paul Pajo has been like a mentor for both of us. Really, it's that's really part of the origin story for how DOON got started, actually. So, just exactly as Mixx said, we've been really friends for a while, drinking buddies in different barcadas. We go out, chase girls, whatever it is.
Go to Bottoms if it's a rough night,
Bottoms.
Man, that thing is so appropriately named.
Yeah, that's where we see Drake, man.
Yeah, man. That thing's so appropriate. So anyway, DOON. The origin story of DOON actually really comes from that trip we were talking about before the break. So I was in the UK, right? Getting the dealership for Radical, right? These cars.
Okay.
And when I landed in the airport, none of the rental car desks were open. It was Good Friday. Okay. Fucking smart guy here, right here, decided to book the plane ticket and land on Good Friday because Western country, they don't really care so much about that. They
do back home, bro.
They do pala a little bit. You know what? The Hertz desk was closed. The Thrifty, everything was closed. The Sixth was closed.
Yep.
So I googled it, as you do in the airport, and I found this company called Turo. And I was like, oh, Turo, cool. What is that? All right, rent a car, Airbnb cars. Okay. Sign up, get verified credit card information. And within let's say 20, 30 minutes, there was some guy on the way to Heathrow Airport to bring me his Tesla for me to use for like a week. And it was like 70 pounds a day. I'm like, shit, I got Tesla Model 3. Never driven a Tesla. Dang.
But it's right-hand drive also.
Yeah, but I don't really mind that. I'm a car guy.
Okay.
Through and through. It's all the same to me.
Yeah.
Plus, it's not naman manual, so there's no clutch.
Okay.
Automatic lang naman.
Okay.
All you have to do is kind of convert
gas
your brain.
Or brake lang.
No, gas or brake, same place. Still right foot. No changing there. But you're converting your brain. You drive on the other side of the road. You're counterflowing lang all the time.
Like a UV Express driver, technically.
Yeah, basically like a UV. You're just like a jeepney driver naman, so it's not that hard. Any jeepney driver could drive in the UK or Japan.
Got it. So it's but with this experience, getting Turo, was that where the seed was planted of like, all right, why can't we do a Turo in the Philippines?
Well, I thought about it, but I never really acted on it too much because again, this was before COVID. DOON is really a COVID baby.
Yeah.
Okay,
Just
so
like
DOON,
a lot of the generation that was made in
during COVID, yeah.
yeah. A lot
It's
of
part of
babies,
that.
baby boom, baby COVID babies. There you
Yeah,
go.
COVID babies is their own generation now.
Yep.
That's what comes after Gen Z.
Yeah. So I want to understand. So okay, you had this idea, you didn't act on it.
Yeah.
When did you start acting on it, and how did this come together with PageMan being the culprit?
Oh, really simple. So we hit the pandemic, right? We're
Okay.
in the pandemic in 2020. And I remember it was like the height of the pandemic. I was living in La Union at the time. This was like the first 6 months of the COVID pandemic, whatever.
Stuck with Ron
Right?
Hose and
Yeah,
Lucia
actually-
and them.
Yeah, bro. Actually, I was at Bingo Manahan's Resort in Qapita.
Shout out Bingo Manahan. There you go.
Yeah, man. So then I was like, how can we pivot? Because, my business at the time, commercial solar power, it was kind of reliant on people going to work and spending electricity. You know what I mean? Like solar power works if you're making items. If the factory's closed, there's no sales.
Yeah.
So you can't sell anything. I was like, fuck, what am I going to do?
Mhm.
Like half of that salary was commission based.
Mhm.
So you're just basically missing half of your salary because there's no sale to make a
Correct.
commission on. Terrible. All right. So I kept thinking about it. And then one day on my 30th birthday, I remember we were living in La Union all the way till 2021.
Okay.
A friend of mine reminded me about Turo lang on my birthday. It's like, bro, Turo would be so great in the Philippines. It's so hassle to rent cars here, all this shit.
Yep.
I was like, fuck yeah, no? Galing ng Turo.
Uh-huh.
Such a cool fucking business. I like it. And then I thought about it a little bit more. And then I remember seeing Paul on Cinco de Mayo of that year. And I was like, Paul, how do you build a startup? But like, I have this idea that I've been like playing with in my head. I want to make an Airbnb of cars. How can I make that? Like, I have no idea about tech. I have no idea how to be a founder of a tech company. I have no idea about anything.
Yeah.
Paul just connects me straight away to a few people. We start talking. We make the first ever DOON mock-up. And then from that, I made the first ever DOON deck. And
you went the deck route right away. Okay.
yeah, because I couldn't really figure out, like I said, I had no money because I went broke starting Radical.
Mhm.
I went the deck route.
Really nice.
Well,
cars.
I had race cars that were sitting in a garage in Clark Speedway that sometimes we were doing test days and we were charging like 100,000 for the full test day. And maybe somebody will buy a car from that. In the entire pandemic, we sold one car.
Oh my God.
We
Ouch.
sold one. We sold
And the
one.
depreciation hit, of course, because that's just sitting out there.
Yeah, well, we sold a brand new one naman on order from the factory in the UK. But
Right.
still, one car, great. Okay, 4.5 million pesos. Your margin is like, let's say 15%, whatever it is. Still not crazy money.
Nope.
Right? That's not a lot. Yeah, it's enough, but for a while. You know what I mean? So building an app is not cheap. We had to go deck route. So we checked with the dev shop. My first estimate on the app from Umpisa. I don't know if you know Umpisa. It's one of the dev shops that Paul's part of. So my first estimate to me was 5 million pesos.
Yep.
Get the thing running. I was like, shit, how do we do this? Make a deck, talk to some friends and family, try to get an investment, fail at that completely. Never happened. And then got really lucky one day. Very good friend of mine was working with AHG Lab, building some tech for them. And he goes, hey, bro, AHG Lab is looking for one more startup to build. Come in and pitch. I was like, okay, no hopes, still working the regular day job, 9 to 5, doing solar power. At this point, it's already 2022. And the only thing that I had made for DOON was a relationship with an insurance company that was also insuring my race cars.
Oh.
And they committed to develop the first ever pay-per-use commercial car rental insurance with me. The company's Pioneer. Right? So that's the only thing. That's what I had in my pocket. I had that and the deck.
Got it. Wow.
I had no money. It was like literally, fuck man, I was living with my girlfriend at the time, who's now my wife. I was just running on like whatever salary I had and closed fucking one solar sale since the pandemic, or two maybe, right? And then right there, I pitched AHG Lab. They said, fuck, that's kind of good. Come back again tomorrow and meet the owners of the company. Okay, that sounds good. They invited me back the second day.
Okay.
I'm going to do it. Game. I went back the second day, pitched them again, and they said, we like it. We're going to make you an offer later. What? Yeah, bro. I said, so I pitched them maybe before lunch. By 5 p.m., I had a first offer already. And then I only fought it a tiny bit. Like I literally looked at it. I was like, you know what? I have nothing really except for the pitch deck and maybe an insurance product. So I'll let them be the first investor. These guys look pretty cool. They have a nice setup. They seem to have like a whole company behind this whole startup idea.
Who are these guys?
The owners of AHG Lab, the founders are Mark Koyman, Marcel Visser, and Rene Quartero.
Mark is my angel as well.
Yeah.
One of the craziest guys in a good way that you can find in the planet Earth. There you go.
Yeah, that guy's crazy. But he's so fun.
I love that guy. We get along so much. I love his energy. You know, when you actually get to party with MG in the early days of AHG Lab, he had a bit more time and he'd really hang out and party with us. That guy is like, you show him a tequila bottle and then the whole world lights up. It's amazing.
Yep. Boom. No, but aside from his infamous partying that he does.
Oh, he's so serious. He's such a genius also.
That guy's a hustler. My town exited thing with $1 billion bang bang on
bang bang.
There you go.
Yeah.
So really good. But I want to understand now. So you got into AHG. Mark is one of the best angels you can have in the country.
Absolutely.
From nothing. I want to understand one thing. Because me, bro, I literally came from butt ass broke. But it was, I mean, I grew up poor. Only child, raised by a single mom. Super Pinoy. Just look at my packing pace. Come on. Does it look like I came from somewhere else? I grew up here. I grew up in the streets, motherfucker. That's what I came from. But again, this is my third startup now. For the past 18 months up until July, we were in super survival mode. That was the brokest I have ever been. Literally, I was counting the pesos of how much I need to get so I can drive to Rockwell to meet people. I was that broke already. And then just recently we got funded again. Not much, but it gave us the runway that was missing for a very long time. So it was a test of grit that I didn't know that I even had. But the reason why I wanted to ask you this is because coming from butt-ass broke, going hand to mouth for so long, losing your confidence, losing a bit of your self-worth, when that check of both of confidence comes in, I want to understand how that felt for you.
Oh, man. Okay. We can say a lot of stories about this, but it's going to be funny. Like when we were starting up, we'd attend all of these start events. We'd be like, oh, hi, we're Enrique and DOON. We're trying to, look for angels, and no one would really like listen to us a little bit. And sometimes when we'd hear other startups pitch, they're like, oh, whoa. Or other people, other founders would be like, oh yeah, you have like some startups are like, they have like 3 months of runway left. And I'm like, wow, that's a lot. We're usually don't have usually have less than a month.
18 months, probably even 24. Our runway was 0.51. The most was 2.
Oh, that was our first year.
Oh my God.
We got the AHG investment. So it was just me and the company at the start. I got the AHG investment. And then it hit the point where, okay, we've got the product idea kind of there. It's time for you to have a co-founder. They told me this. And I'm looking around, and that's when Mixx comes in.
Yeah.
Paul again with the recommendation that fucking saves everything, right? But at this point, okay, now I've got a co-founder. There's 2 people on the payroll, right?
Yep.
And our initial AHG investment that was supposed to be $50,000 became $100,000. That was already running out because dev is mahal.
Yep.
Dev is mahal. $100,000 on an MVP, easy. With a dev shop for an app, easy.
Yeah.
Easy, bro. Very easy. So it's running out. And this is the point where we're reaching. We have operations already. We're starting to kind of get ready to break this thing live. We're beginning some marketing. We're beginning some of these
idling
things.
now. You're idling. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're idling. We just got the engine started. Not ready to come out of the garage yet.
Yeah,
we're doing some final checks, right?
Right.
Getting there. At this point, we're doing friends and family angels. You know, Mixx is like bringing in one friend who's like living in Boracay, whatever. $10,000 ticket here, another $10,000 ticket there. This is how we're running the business.
Yep.
We're literally
hand to mouth.
Yeah, hand to mouth about it. Like exactly like you said, our runway is 0.5, maximum 2. Never went above 2. In the entirety of 12 months since we launched, never did I see a time where we had more than 2 months of life in the business.
Yeah. What people don't understand is the stress that you go through.
Yeah.
Bro, I was adding what do you call it? Runway to it. I'm not taking salary for like 9 months. I didn't take salary.
Dude, that's exactly that was last year for me.
That's what I did too.
Also. You got a few also. Mixx also chipped in. Parang lang we could pay the customer success girl. Parang lang we could pay whoever. We're just not taking salary anymore. Fuck it, right? Like we gotta pay for the Facebook campaign or the social media marketing.
Yeah,
get the numbers up. All these things.
Sorry, I'll ask one more question before you answer my OG question of how it felt, because I cannot remember how many times this crossed my mind. Like, fuck this shit. I'm done.
Yeah.
I battled with that so many. That was a demon that I kept seeing probably every week.
Yeah.
I hated that demon because like it stares you right in the face, and it's formidable, and the motherfucker will always come back.
Yeah, it's true. Let's
right?
take
but for some weird reason, I always found a way to beat him, and I was so close because, bro, here's the thing. So. For context, why we lost money. We were running out of runway. Funding winter happens. The biggest client we had was Spotify.
Mm-hmm.
We were again 70% of our revenue came from them. We were producing 50 podcasts for them. Gone overnight. 70%. I had a 60-man team, so I had to cut my team in half. Let my studio go that I created from every crevice that's in that studio. I designed it myself.
That sucks.
That fucking hurt like shit. And then, so we asked for a bit of funding so that we can do it. Investors gave us a bit of runway to get that done. This is March last year, June 2023. June 9, 2023. My co-founder died.
Oh, sorry to hear that, man.
Yeah, sorry about that. But yeah, that's
then and then again, that holy shit, man. It was so difficult. And again, I kept battling with this, trying to keep my company alive and while grieving at the same time.
Fuck, man. You know I can relate. We talked about this earlier, yeah.
Yeah, I know. But
to me also.
You know what I mean? So again, that I was so close to quitting. How many times did you have to go through this, and how did you beat your demons? I'll share mine. On nights, on days that I felt like, you know what? I don't deserve this anymore. I can get paid in a nice cushy job, or I can just restart again.
Yeah.
I beat it because I found multiple ways of how the universe was telling me to keep going. A lot of times, it's my team. Because when I see Slack blowing up, and it's my team doing hard work, trusting that they'll be paid at the end of the week, at end of the month, and on the 15th, who am I to quit? Right? On certain nights, I cling to my co-founders who are going through the same thing, and they keep fighting. Roland Ross, Rexy Dorado, those guys were handed really bad cards too.
Yeah.
But they kept fighting. So one thing I don't know how to do is quit. So even though I get pummeled in the face by that demon so many times, fuck you. I'm a demon myself too. I'm gonna punch you back.
Yeah, bro.
Right?
We
So
got it.
just,
We got it.
every 15:30 I beat it. But oh my god, I was scared shitless. So that feeling of you
Bro.
pissing yourself in the pants while driving, that's me every time 15 and 30th comes in. Oh my
Dude.
god.
Dude, I can feel you. I can feel you there, man. That was our
Yeah.
year.
That was our year
probably-
every 2 weeks for us.
Woo-wee.
Oh
Yeah.
my god.
How
That
did you
was
beat it?
our-
How did you get over? How did you beat the demon? And how did you stay alive? Because at this point, the game plan is simple. It's JDFD. Just don't fucking die. That's
Yeah.
it. Mhm.
I was
I
so
did-
fucking done.
I think I can answer first.
Yeah.
I mean, there were a lot of difficult situations for Enrique and myself. It's something that we've just, discussed in closed doors. And we both, took hits. We didn't take any salaries. And like, how can we survive? I actually touched my personal Bitcoin savings just to get me to the next few months without salary and stuff. Right.
Mhm.
And there's a lot of things in our personal lives that was going on too. And a lot of people think that we're like, yo, look at these rich guys, right? We're not. We're normal
I have
folk.
no idea.
But,
What
yeah,
the fuck? I'm broke.
right? Yeah, we're like making ends meet. And one thing I would really tell Enrique is like, yo, man, I know we're in a rut now, but I believe in what we're doing. We're gonna change how the Philippine landscape is. So right now, kailangan natin magtiis, and I'm just gonna pray for whatever it is we're working on. And it's been dark. Like, it's been really dark. Sometimes it's like there was a time where an investor backed out. It was like 3 days before salary, and we're like, where are we gonna get X amount of money in 3 days? And for some reason, the next day, there's a guy who pulls up a Ferrari in our car in front of our office and gives us some money. And it's not just by chance. Enrique worked his ass off just to find that guy, but I've been praying. So there's some of miracle stories that I feel like it's kind of weird that it
That's the
happened.
universe telling you that you're doing the right thing.
So we've got those signals, right? And I don't know. It just feels like we've been doing everything that we can't, so God can step in to do whatever we couldn't, right? But we never stopped. Like, even the lowest points, we stepped on the gas.
Wow.
Right?
Go
That's-
pa rin, even if one bar na lang.
Yo, as in,
Yeah, man.
we've
You gotta
been
go fast till the engine stops. So we're not gonna take your foot off the gas until we're
My
out of
God.
gas and the engine stops.
No
bro.
minor. Just go.
Wala.
yeah.
That's not how it works in the startup. I think Mixx is totally right there. For me, it was similar to yours about the team. I'd see a few of our earliest employees, they're really putting in above and beyond levels of work. Like, they're teaching me things. We had this one girl, Annika, she would propose some kind of stuff, like a framework or a flow for something. And I'm like, damn, I learned that from you. Galing. Okay. Anyway, you know what I mean? Like, the fact that they're putting this much of themselves also into it. Yeah, we can't quit, man. It's like, okay, if my salary can pay her salary na lang, that's better.
Correct.
Right? If I can find some guy who's just like my friend and he's willing to come in just because we're friends, even if we have to pitch him and he'll just give us like $10,000, great.
Yep. We'll
He'll
take
keep
it.
us alive. I'll take it.
Correct.
$10,000, that's another fucking month. Let's go. But we were racking up debt with Sandlot. We were racking up debt from building the app out, not being able to pay them.
Wow.
Just still fixing bugs, just trying to prove that people want it. That there's a market. We have the app. It's difficult to actually get verified and stuff. It's not like you just get on the app and then you can rent the car right away. We have safeguards in place, but it's happening despite that. right? Like people are willing to put all their personal information and KYC themselves on a brand new company just to get some transportation, some reliable transportation. And then you see it. Then you start hearing the stories, right? There's like some guy who calls you and says, hey, can you guys pay me my car rental out for a few days early so I can pay my Corriente bill? Like, oh, we're helping people. Then you start hearing things like a club promoter girl rents out her car and then that's paying for her rent.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Amazing.
So there's stuff happening that's like, okay, we got to keep this thing alive because people are really working on it. And then lately, just having built the angel investor syndicate we built, it was just like friends and family around. Somebody actually finally came in with like the big check. You know what I mean?
Nice.
Came in and suddenly, there's $1.2 million on the table now.
Wow.
Oh,
again, night and day difference.
Yeah, I've never even seen $1 million before. I didn't even know what that looks like still.
You can feel like $1 million, but not see the $1 million.
I asked the Union Bank if they could withdraw it just so I could touch it. I asked the banker girl. She said no.
Oh, wow.
Wait, it's my $1 million.
Before we wrap this up. Just and then deposit it right back. But I want to understand now. Okay, my OG question before we take our last break.
Yeah.
What did it feel? Because when you saw that 1.2, I remember when we got the email that we were in iterative this cohort, and they only had 1.67% acceptance rate, the lowest ever.
Yeah,
and we fucking made it. Dude, I squealed like a girl in the car when I was driving.
No.
I squealed like a girl. And I played my favorite comeback song and I cried myself when I was driving around town. That song is Alab ng Puso by River Maya. What the fuck? It's the best fucking comeback song.
Yeah.
And I just drove around aimlessly in that area for like a good 10 to 15 minutes.
All right.
Dude, we were in the office.
Yeah. So how did that feel?
No, let me clarify first. Let me start up. Like at some point we had to apply for a DOSD grant because we were looking for money, and that took 4 months before.
That shit's not easy. That's actually harder than actually doing pitching.
Yeah. So I really wanted to help Enrique get some money, so I did the work. Again, Paul Pajo stepped in and helped me out a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? After 4 months, we were both in the office, and I got the confirmation email, and I was like, Enrique, look at this. And he just, what's that? I can't read it. It's like, we got it. Got what? 3 million pesos. And I don't curse a lot, but I screamed so much. You're like, like, how you go when you like scored the winning touchdown, or you're like, we screamed so much the whole building could hear us because we're like, oh yes, we're gonna survive a little more, right? Because at the time there was the million wasn't in there yet, right? But I feel like the DOST or the government backing really set the stage for us, like.
Yeah, that was the first one. That was the first one, no? Qapita, he wrote a fucking thesis and sent it into the government and came back with 3 million pesos. And I'm like, 27-page thesis, this guy.
Dude, it's not easy, I swear. It gives me trauma from like, what the fuck? This is harder than my thesis in college. Because I was able to defend well because I had to defend. But it was all bullshit the shit that I put in that thesis. Right?
Dude, we put so much bullshit in this government thing also. Because there was I remember there was a section where the government was asking us about our gender sensitivity. And he kept asking me about DOON's gender sensitivity. And I was like, bro, the car cannot tell if it's a man or a woman driving.
We just try to fill it up, man. I mean, it's a government requirement, so it's not really bullshit, but we try to answer it with whatever structure they wanted, right? Everything else there is like legit, but it's crazy. It's crazy. It's difficult, and you find yourself repetitive.
It's so repetitive, guy, but it's literally like, dude, harder, how clear do I have to be with you that the car cannot tell?
Right. No, but again, so when that came in, there's I remember my moment having there was a lull. Then it just everything just flashed back.
Mhm.
And there's that moment when the universe or God was telling me, see, you just had to wait.
Yeah, man. I can feel you there. Like after I
Yeah.
got our DOST funding, I on Sundays I serve in church the whole day. So there'd be a time when I was like, I'd be on my knees and I would just be, God, thank you. I thank you for just leading us and making sure that we are strong, that we are patient,
Yeah.
that we practice integrity and accountability in everything that we do. And now we're getting the rewards. And to be honest, after the DOST, I thought, you know what? Maybe that's it. Then a few months later, Enrique comes back to the office telling me all of these good news. I'm like,
Nice.
okay, let's see him sign it. And then
Okay.
finally, when we got the deal signed,
Boom.
man, it was like boom, 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 boom. I was like, damn,
Yeah.
we
No,
really
it's
did
when
that?
it rains, it pours. And when
Yeah.
you're lucky,
Yeah.
momentum comes in, man.
It
You
really
can't ever
poured.
lose it though, Pucha.
Yeah.
Momentum's like you gotta keep that train going.
Right.
Fucking
Because when the
stoke
tide
that
turns
fire.
again, shit.
Yeah, mahirap.
Right. So again, let's take our last
You
break,
get-
and when we come back, we will talk
Alright.
about what you guys did to keep that momentum going. Because again, this is such an inspiring story. I didn't realize we had so much in common together. Let's talk about that more after the break. Hey hustlers, how many apps are you using at work these days? 5, 10, 20? Let's face it, there are chat apps for internal communication and emails for external. Cloud Drive for docs and wikis, calendars and video conferencing, spreadsheets and project management software, and probably yet another tool to connect them all. It is a mess. And if you're collaborating with cross-border colleagues, partners, or suppliers, it gets even more complicated. And don't you find it disruptive when your personal and business messages get mixed up? And if this sounds painfully familiar, switch to Lark, the leading super app for work designed to increase your team's productivity by 10x at an unbelievable fraction of the cost. With Lark, manage projects, chat with your team, build a knowledge base with wikis, and automate workflows such as approvals without code effortlessly from one app. No switching or integration needed. Join fast-growing companies in over 125 countries, including Xiaomi, Glint, and the Philippines' very own Kumu and Mama Luz, who trust Lark as their workplace super app. I've started using Lark myself for our pressure washing business service, Papa Pressure, and I'm totally loving it. Want to see how Lark can revolutionize your business? Click the link in the description or download Lark for free at larksuite.com. That's larksuite.com, the productivity super app every business needs. And we're back from the break. We are still with Mixx, and Enrique had then told us the I love amazing stories like this. Again, bro, what people don't understand. That's why when new startup founders come in. When I was younger, it's like, yeah, go ahead, create a startup. Now when I do that, go ahead, create a startup. Be prepared. This is gonna be fucking hard, man. I swear. Are you sure you really want to get into this? Because there needs to be real conviction and borderline insanity for you to be able to do this shit. Because it will eat you alive and spit you out in pieces.
It will. It will.
This is probably the only thing I've ever done in my life that's more painful than passing a kidney stone.
Yep. Yep. It's hard.
Bro, this is like...
That was fun pa, kidney stone. You can cranberry juice and fucking buko that shit eh.
Yeah, but when you... Anyway, the point is, this is like, what the
torture.
hell
It's
are we...
torture.
Why? You don't sleep long. Maybe if you sleep, it's like putol, because sometimes in the night, you're like, oh yeah, payday still at like 15 days.
Right.
My God, you wake up like...
Those cold sweats at night, dude, happens so many times. My wife would be like, why the fuck? What's going on? Right?
And you're looking at the thing and you're like, 3 a.m.
Shit. 3 a.m. And then you're wide awake.
Yeah. Right? You're like so awake at 3 a.m. Like, what? I can't go back to sleep again? You gotta watch like some kind of YouTube thing to fall asleep.
Yeah. It's crazy. But okay, again, tide turned, got over the worst hump.
Yeah.
Enrique, how did you get if DOST was the first hurdle in Daytona USA where you got time extension, there you go. how did you go guns blazing where you didn't need a time extension to get the rest of the thing? Is this what's unique about your deal is that it's debt or it's a credit line plus also funding. How did you get that done?
So it's convertible debt, right? And a credit line. And it all comes from one company, Esquire Finance.
Raj.
Raj.
Which is hard to get, by the way. Oh my God.
You know what? I had a theory because when I was initially building the cap table with the early investors, I felt that you had to go really strategic, even if you're not going to get a lot of money and even if it takes them forever to pay you, right? You got to make sure the people who invest in your company, they add value.
Yep.
One of the people that invested was there's an attorney, Mike Toledo. I don't know if you know this guy, but he's very big up in Metro Pacific Investments and all these things. And he's got a lot of really good friends everywhere, right?
Yeah.
But, the minute he signed, this guy's so smart, Mike Toledo. He knows how to make his investment suddenly jump in value just by him being a part of it. So what he does is he goes, I like what you're doing. You know, my son's been telling me about it a lot, all these things. I think I'm going to invest now. Took me maybe 5 months to finally get this guy's safe note signed, right? And the whole time we're just hanging out, go to his like family things or whatever. But still, we hang out. And he says, I just opened my cigar bar. Come here. Let's hang out. Let's sign the document here. Okay. I go there, no expectation. I bring the document in a folder. People is really opening it. Meaning to say that all his friends are there and it's on opening night. Wow. And he chose the opening night to sign the documents. And so all his other rich friends are asking, what are you doing? What are you buying? What are you investing in now? And he goes, oh, this is Enrique. He founded this startup. It's called DOON. I'm putting $10,000 here right now. And they're all looking at each other and like, yeah. And then Raj is there. Raj goes, oh, you need more funding? Mike Toledo's my lawyer. If it's good enough for him, it's good enough for me.
Whoa. That is what you call a godfather move.
Yeah. So he does that, right? Oof. But it's not immediate. This is sometime in like March. And the time we got the money was actually
May 13. May 13, he signed it.
May 13. Okay, so it took me about 2 months rent to keep talking to Raj, pitching him the full company idea. Because he's in principle, but he's not an idiot. He wants to know what his money's going to do, what's going to happen, what's the structure, how much the company is worth, all these things, right?
Right.
So we do our full-on DD, and then he looks at it and just goes, you can fill your race, but I don't believe you can do it on the peer-to-peer model lang. Parang even with Grab, they bought cars at the start para lang to kickstart the business. I'll give you a credit line of $1 million. What?
Oh my God.
Yeah. And
because he's like, look, you're going to buy some cars. You got to buy some stuff to pad your platform with some stuff to prove your concept. So we're like thinking, wow, we finished our raise. You'd be like, oh shit, we 6x our raise. Ang galing. But now it's like we're deploying the $1 million in a smart way, naman. We don't want to build a rental fleet that you've seen before.
Of course.
I'm not building something that you already know and you've seen. I'm building something that has convertibles that you can rent for under $100 a day, for example. I'm building something that you can get an overland camping car and go on like a camping trip with some barcada for, let's say, 7 or 8K.
Got it. So you're selling these experiences per se.
Yeah. We want to build something more unique naman. Of course, we have cars all over the Philippines now, 48 cities nationwide. Great. There's a few hundred of them on the platform. And if you want something regular or cheap, we got it also. Our cheapest car right now is a 700 peso Innova. It's 10 years old.
Innova, okay.
Innova for 700
you don't
peso.
go be lower than, you don't go Wigo naman. Or
no, we do have Wigos.
We have Wigos. Okay.
We have 2 rules lang. It can't be more than 3 million pesos in the current, now in 2024.
Got it.
And it can't be more than 15 years old. Everything in between that is allowed.
Fair game.
So
Okay.
we want to enable people to hustle with any car they got. You got a Suzuki multicab, I want it. L300, I want it. You got Wigo, I want it. I don't care. Mirage, I don't care. Whatever car you got, if it fits my two criteria that are very basic, I want it.
Do they have to drive like a Mirage driver also? You know what I mean?
Well, no,
They have to live to the brand, guys. A Mirage driver and the Wigo driver, they're very specific about how they drive.
I know what you're talking about. What you're talking about. Well, number one, since we're self-drive rental,
Just kidding.
they're not even involved. Their hustle is like a 15-minute hustle. It's like 15 minutes, take photos of your car, show me the condition of your car, show us the condition, give it to our guests, and then when it comes back, do another checklist, and then show us the condition of the car again, right? So it's a very easy hustle. It's more of just hustling out your property. Like really Airbnb, very minimal work needed. I mean, all you got to do is keep your car maintenance up to date, keep it registered, make sure you're not in violation of any LTO law by not registering your car.
Yep. We have some TPL man lang o compre, whatever that is.
We provide naman the insurance, right?
Okay,
so it's okay. Good. The TPL is mandatory naman by the LTO, so you can't get away from TPL. TPL is required. So, and yeah, that's about it, bro. Just turn over the car and receive it. Monitor the GPS. Not much to do, really, but it can make you some money. Clean it after every rental, of course. Gotta make sure your guests are not getting in a shitty, dirty car.
Right.
That's minus rating points.
Sounds good. But how are you guys marketing this? Because again, you're not also the only game in town. I've seen a couple of the of your competitors also, and in a very competitive market where you're also indirectly competing with any TNVS per se that's out there. How do you carve out your niche?
I think for TNVS and TNCs, we're not directly competing with them. I mean, if they want to go on our platform, they can. We're just here to bridge the gaps of, let's say, Grab. You can't take a Grab to Baguio, right? And we offer unique vehicles. It's not like when you rent out in a traditional car rental company, they have a specific criteria of vehicles. I mean, hey, if you have a hot date, you can rent out a Mustang from us.
There you go.
Where else in the Philippines can you do that? Right?
Yeah.
So
that sounds like a kabit move, but okay, fine.
No, but it's like we're very open to work with all car rental companies. I mean, at the end of the day, if they get more visibility, we help market their product. We get a lot of the car rental companies here don't have the budget for tech. So we try to work on a product where it also gives them a dashboard to make their operations a lot smoother. Right. And for us, it's really the value proposition. I mean, the insurance product is the first and only in the Philippines, and it takes out that liability for the host to actually pay for it annually to like per transaction basis, which is right now 24-hour increments. So imagine that, like, you're not chasing money anymore. Like when I want to do car rental. Now I have to catch like the 40,000 insurance that I paid for the year. Right? You completely forgo that. And then we give our hosts free AAP membership. They just need to tell us that they want it. Right? And then
Comes
we
in
also
handy when we get that flat tire.
And AAP is the only one that's accredited to tow vehicles in national highways.
Correct.
Expressways.
Yeah, expressways. And then also, if the host is medyo praning pa after that, we hook him up with the CarTrack GPS, right? CarTrack is the leading GPS provider in the Philippines, but this is something that the host needs to subscribe. So it's a lot of features, but what we can assure you is that if someone tries to find the GPS and they try to remove it, the car's not going to start. It sends a red signal to CarTrack, and CarTrack alerts the authorities. There's also features in their app where they press a button and it immobilizes the car. So we want to be able to have these products and features for the host. So at least, you know what, whatever happens, we've got your back. We're not going to be able to eliminate all the risks, but we alleviate them to a great percentage. So we really want to encourage all of these mom and pop car rentals on Facebook. Like, you type in Mandaluyong car rentals, so like 50 to 100 groups.
Correct.
Those people think that, I have personal insurance. So if my car gets bumped, it's covered. But in reality, you need commercial insurance because you're already making money of that. So a lot of Filipinos don't have that understanding. So we're here to not only educate them, but also give them the right avenue to rent out their car safely.
That is amazing. All right. I want to understand one thing before we wrap this baby up. The acquisition of the company you just literally acquired. What's the rationale behind that? And what are you going to unlock with that acquisition?
Okay, so that's actually a play into the future, right? So that came from Brian Poe. He's also on our cap table. And the reason we needed the car rental company is because, number one, it already had one car operating with the correct LTFRB franchise that allows us to work with bigger hotel chains.
Big money. You're chasing whales.
So now we can already start selling the rental of that Toyota Alphard to the Shangri-Las and the peninsulas of the Philippines, right? That's one. Number two, it had some extra franchises that were unassigned. It had 9 more licenses that were unassigned to any vehicle. We can actually expand and create our own fleet of vehicles that we can work and partner already with the likes of Grab. We can supply them with vans. We can supply them with whatever cars they might need. And also different hotel chains, Addison's, Shangri-Las, and whatnot.
Yep.
So we're looking already at providing rental car service to these corporations. However, because we're a tech company in the eyes of the SEC, we as DOON cannot own anything. We don't own any cars. We have to create a different vehicle for that. We now have our first subsidiary own the fleet.
That is amazing. I love how you guys do it. But
at the same time, that's also what deploys that $1 million credit line. That $1 million credit line goes through the fleet, so that's all legal. We'll have the only Mazda Miata with an LTFRB franchise for rent in the Philippines. So cool, diba?
That is amazing. Thanks so much again, Mixx and Enrique. But before I let you go, what's next for you guys? And again, if there's people that want to partner up or rent a car or want to have their cars rented, where do they go and how do they do that?
Well, I think what's next really for us is unparalleled growth. That's what we're looking for. I want to make sure we get a massive amount of people with their cars on our platform, sharing their cars with those who need it and earn income from it. So if you guys who are listening want to join the hustle, you want to be part of our hustle, feel free to just download our app on the App Store, the Google Play Store, or the Huawei Store. And it's free, completely 100% free. The barrier to entry is basically just KYC. That's it. You just got to sign up and get verified, right? So sign up your car, list your car with us on DOON. Let us handle the insurance. Let us handle the AAP membership, the towing, roadside assistance. And you just focus on your business of making money from your car. That's it, right? That's what we want to invite all the listeners to kind of come on and do.
That is amazing.
I think a lot of people think we're scammers because the value proposition is so good. Like, how do they get so much value for their services, right?
Really, because there's no upfront cost. The insurance is paid as needed by the guest. So you don't have to subscribe to anything, right? We give you an AAP membership. And literally the only thing you need is a car track GPS at 450 pesos a month. If you want it, it's optional pa. Don't even require it. So 450 pesos a month, the price of 2 Starbucks for your GPS tracking for your whatever, how much million peso car, whatever it is. Even an Altis now is a million peso car. Go figure.
Yep.
So yeah.
That's amazing. Again, rooting for you guys. Big fan. I was already a fan before, but I'm a bigger fan now. I respect you and see you guys at the top. But before I let you go, follow us whatever podcast app you're listening to, whether it's Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts. If we did say some jargon, it's going to be in the show notes at hustleshare.com. If you also want to support Hustleshare and doing content like this, please do subscribe at premium.hustleshare.com. Again, Enrique and Mixx, thank you very much.
Thanks for us for having us.
us.
All right, I'll see you guys in the next
Appreciate it.
episode.
Yeah.
Peace.